17th, 2019. Tonight, our invocation and pledge will be led by Board Member Krause.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm not turned on here. Thank you. As we approach the holiday season and we rush from activity and calendar event to calendar event, I wanted just to extend some wishes from the board and myself. In 2020, I wish for you more sleep, more music, more tea, or maybe another favorite beverage, more books, more sunsets, more creating memories, more long walks, more laughter, more hugs, more dreaming, more road trips, more fun, and most of all, more love. Thank you. If you'll please join me and stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you, Member Krause. Let the record reflect that all school board members are in attendance, along with the superintendent, our school board attorney, and our school board clerk. Dr. Griffin, do you have any agenda modifications?
I have 3 items, Madam Chair. The first is the addendum for good cause is marked on our electronic agenda by a green flag named addendum item. And the second 2, I'm going to be pulling 2 items this evening. The first item that I'm pulling is item 7A, student discipline hearing dispositions, and item 9A, assignment and assumption of dental insurance policy for 2020 plan year.
Thank you, Dr. Griffin. Board members, do you have any questions or comments? Dr. Calderon?
Not for me, thank you.
Thank you. Member Sanchez?
No modifications, thank you.
Member Krause?
No.
Member Pennock?
No.
Thank you. I have 4AD. I'll be doing an assignment for an RFQ. Can I get a motion for approval of the agenda outline?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. Dr. Griffin, presentations.
We have several.
Board members?
Good evening. It is my pleasure to recognize Chief Christopher Jackson. If you could please come forward as our Veteran of the Month for Seminole County Public Schools. In attendance with Chief Jackson, if they could please stand, is Loman Oliver, his stepfather and retiree of Seminole County Public Schools. His daughter, Shaquanda Williams. And his immediate supervisor, Ms. Cliffine Reed. Christopher C. Jackson attended Lake Mary High and graduated in 1986. After graduating, Chris attended Lake City Community College on a basketball scholarship. Chris attended Lake City Community for 2 years. After college, Chris decided to join the United States Army. In January 1989, Chris joined the Army with his first assignment to Fort Sill, Oklahoma basic training. After completing basic training, Private Jackson was assigned to Fort Benning, Georgia, Airborne School training, which lasted for 6 weeks. After graduating Airborne School, Private Jackson was reassigned to 1st of the 319th Field Artillery, 82nd Airborne Division, Fort Bragg, North Carolina. After serving numerous airborne assignments on Fort Bragg, Sergeant Jackson was reassigned in 1996 to 1st of the 10th Special Forces Group located in Stuttgart, Germany. While assigned to Special Forces, Sergeant Jackson was promoted to Staff Sergeant within 2 years. Upon completion of the Special Forces assignment, Staff Sergeant Jackson applied for the United States Army Warrant Officers Program. In the summer of 2000, Staff Sergeant Jackson was accepted into the United States Warrant Officer Candidate course. After a grueling 11 weeks of warrant officer training at Fort Rucker, Alabama, Warrant Officer Jackson was reassigned back to Fort Bragg, North Carolina, as the Property Book Warrant Officer for 4th Brigade Combat Team. In 2005, Chief Warrant Officer Chris Jackson was reassigned to Seoul, Korea, with orders to be the Property Book Officer for 25th Transportation Battalion. Chief Jackson successfully completed this assignment, and for his hard work, Chief Jackson was awarded the Meritorious Service Medal. In the summer of 2007, Chief Jackson received his final assignment of his career, with orders assigning him to 16th Calgary Regiment as the Regimental Property Book Officer. On June 31st, 2009, Chief Warrant Officer Christopher C. Jackson retired from the United States Army honorably. Shortly after retiring from the Army, Chief Jackson relocated back to Sanford and started his second career with Seminole County Public Schools as a JROTC instructor. Currently, Chief Jackson is the Senior Army Instructor, JROTC, at South Seminole Academy. Congratulations, Chief Christopher Jackson, on being recognized as SCPS Veteran of the Month. We would be lost without you at South Seminole Academy. Hooah, Chief.
Dr. Griffin, Chairman Almond, and board members, be ready to be amazed by these high school recognitions. First up, we have our Seminole County Presidential Scholars. First, our Presidential Academic Scholar from Lake Mary High School is Antonella Robelito Ledesma. Antonella is an exceptional, hard-working student at Lake Mary High School. Throughout her 4 years, she has taken a challenging course of study that no other student could imagine, including 17 advanced placement courses, 5 dual enrollment courses, and multiple industry certifications. Antonella has passed every AP exam she has ever taken with scores of 4 or 5 and was named a National AP Scholar last year. She is highly interested in STEM careers and took every opportunity to participate in those avenues at Lake Mary High School. She's a member of the Lake Mary High School NASA Hunch Group and has worked with a team to design a 3D model of the newest launch platform. Her excitement is visible when she discusses her STEM classes, and the more challenging a project, the more animated she becomes. Just listening to her discuss her assignment, even when you might not understand exactly what she's saying, you can't help but become enthused also. Lake Mary High School is so proud of Antonella. as she was chosen our Seminole County Public Schools Presidential Academic Scholar because she embodies the curiosity, hard work, and enthusiasm for learning that we aspire towards all of our students. Congratulations, Anatella. Also in the audience is Dr. Mickey Reynolds, principal of Lake Mary High School. Stand up, Mickey. We also have, recognized tonight, is our Presidential CTE Scholar from Seminole High School. Come up, Kyle Hamlin. I'm going to read, Kyle's not here, but I'm going to read about him anyway. He's an exemplary student at Seminole High School where he maintains a 4.34 GPA and has earned several industry certifications. He's a member of the Technology Student Association and is also a member of the National Honor Society. In addition to his studies, Kyle finds time to volunteer at his church and at Harvest Time International, where he has accumulated 150 community service hours. Here tonight, Principal Dr. Jordan Rodriguez. Congratulations to our CTE Presidential Scholar, Kyle Hamlin. And now we're going to finish up our fall season athletic championships and state runner-ups. From Lake Brantley High School, we're going to recognize some state champions and runner-ups for boys swimming. State champions, Cole Parnell in the 200 free. State champion, Nathaniel Bacuzzo in the 100 breast. Second year in a row, by the way, he's won the state in that event. 400 free relay team of Sage Sungal, Nathaniel Bacuzzo, Seth Bassinger, and Cole Parnell. Also, state runner-up in the 50 free, Sage Sungale, and the 200 free relay team of Cole Parnell, Seth Bassinger, Nathaniel Bacuzzo, and Sage Sungal. Not able to be here tonight, they're Coach Clay Parnell, but here tonight, principal of Lake Brantley High School, Brian Blazewitz, and I believe the athletic director, Jerry Kelly. Congratulations, the boys from Lake Brantley High School. We have two recognitions from Hagerty High School. First, state runner-up in boys golf, Aiden Kramer. Aiden was the Seminole Athletic Conference champion, tied for third in the district, Region 1 runner-up, and the state FHSAA 3A runner-up with a 6 under. And I'm going to tell a story that I heard about Aiden, and I confirmed it. This is a true story. He is a right-handed golfer, hurt his shoulder in a match, and played the round left-handed. Aiden, is that true? I'm assuming he's shaking his head yes. That's pretty amazing. And also, of course, from Hagerty High School, the state champion girls volleyball for 2019. Come on up. With an overall record of 27-6. Placed 7th place out of 100 teams in the Nike Tournament of Champions in Phoenix, Arizona. The Seminole Athletic Conference champions. FHSA Class 7A district champions, region champions, and of course, state champions. They are Jessica Bulls, Alina Carrillo, Sydney Conley, Madison Coates, Audrey Douglas, Alondra Garcia, Emily Lawrence, Kyla Mullen, Olivia Price, Samantha Smith, Brooke Stevens, and Nyasha Mafarcheesi. I knew that one. Head coach Juanita Hitt, assistant coach Mike Hitt, assistant coach Tawani Small. Also here tonight I saw principal Mr. Rob Frasca, and I'm not sure athletic director, Mr. Jay Getty. We're not done yet. Moving forward from Oviedo High School, we're going to bring them both up at the same time. The boys and girls state champions in swimming and diving. The Oviedo Lions swim and dive team had a record-breaking year. Both men's and women's teams went undefeated for the entire season, winning all duals, conference, district, region, and state championships. In the process, the team broke 10 of 11 girls' records and 7 of 11 boys' records. Taking first place in their events were Gabby Donahue, Sarah Beth Cartcott, Abby Gibbons, and Kaylin Herbert in a relay. Also in another relay, Abby Gibbons, Jaden Herbert, Kaylin Herbert, and Izzy Bishop. Also the 400 relay team of Sarah Beth Cartcath, Gabby Donahue, Izzy Bishop, and Jaden Herbert. This is the first time since 1995, and the first time in Oviedo history, of course, that both the men's and the women's team have won the state championship from the same school. The boys team, Ryan Reynolds, Ryan Gibbons, Luca Oliver, Patrick Fry, Josh Howe, Carson Powers, Mason Herbert, Tyler Hanley, Justin Rockaway, Carter Anderson, and Lucas Boats. The women's team included Carly Rose, Gabby Goodwin, Gabby Donahue, Ellie Rothfuss, Brooke Brennan, Kaylin Herbert, Abby Gibbons, Sarah Beth Cathcart, Carolina Balsilnot, Molly Connell, Alexis Pokerski, Jaden Herbert, Izzy Bishop, Gabby Cartagena, Sophie Hampson, Marin Rose, and Taylor Floyd. Head coach for both teams, Charlie Rose. Athletic director, Jen Doherty. And I saw Dr. Trent Daniel, proud principal of Oviedo High School. And wait, there's more. Let's bring up the Seminole boys 4A state runner-up team for the second straight year that competed. Noah Evans, Dominic Toth, Jackson Hines, Dawson Joyce, Gabrielle Haney, Adam Young, Henry Kaler, and Chance Major, Seminole High boys swimming. The Seminole boys won 5 events at the meet, the most of any boys team as state runner-ups. They also had individual state champions. They were, in the 200 medley, Noah Evans, Dominic Toth, Jackson Haynes, and Dawson Joyce. This was their second straight 200 medley win in the state championship. In the 200 free, the relay team of Dawson Joyce, Jackson Haynes, Gabrielle Haney, and Dominic Toth. This was their second straight win in this event. And listen to this, they won by just 5/100ths of a second, for those of you that are math people. Noah Evans also won the state title in the 100 backstroke. And finally, Dawson Joyce won both the 50 and 100 freestyles for the second straight year. After winning the event, both relays this year, plus doing it again for the second straight year, Dawson Joyce is now a perfect 8 for 8 in state championships as a sophomore. He's only a sophomore. All 5 Seminole wins are automatic All-American times. And the coach, Tony Ackerson, is in the room. Also, principal, Dr. Jordan Rodriguez. I'm not sure if athletic director Mike Kentz is here. Congratulations, the boys swim team from Seminole High School. And there's more. Congratulations from Winter Springs High School, swimmer Julia Motter, state runner-up in the 100 freestyle. She also finished 3rd place in the 50 freestyle. Congratulations, state runner-up, Julia Motter. Also here, AD Scott Gomrad. I'm not sure if Principal Pete Gaffney is here tonight. Is Pete here? AD Scott Gomrad is here. Congratulations, Julia. So real quickly, because I like to speak and I have a mic, as we close out the fall athletic season, in talking to the athletic directors, I think this is probably the best fall Seminole County's ever had. So there are 10 teams in the fall, 5 boys teams and 5 women's teams. So there's a possibility of 10 state championships. Of course, there's other classifications, but basically 10 state championships plus individuals, as you saw come up. Seminole County won 18 state championships and had 10 state runner-ups in the fall season alone. Our next introduction, probably a state champion in his own mind, is an administrative introduction. The new administrator to Seminole High School, Assistant Principal Ryan Dufresne. Ryan began his education career in 2012 at Lake Brantley High School as a JROTC instructor. While at Lake Brantley, he was awarded the United States Air Force Outstanding Instructor Award 3 times. In 2018, he moved to Rock Lake Middle School, where he served as a school administration manager, the SAM position. With him tonight, his wife, Christine Dufresne. Congratulations, Assistant Principal, Seminole High School, Ryan Dufresne.
We answered our own question. Thank you.
Super athletes.
So hard on my skin.
I think I'll eat an apple during every day. Probably a tooth would come out. Oh my goodness.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Thank you. I did not intentionally overlook those of you who are in attendance who wish to be acknowledged. Matt Weber, Chris Torsha, and Sean Essler from the Business Advisory Board, thank you for being here. Melissa Pugh, SCC PTA President, thank you for being here. Judy Ning, SCA, thank you for being here. And I see Dan Smith, thank you for being here, SCA. Good evening.
The light says I'm on. There you go. Okay. Good evening, Dr. Griffin and board members. Back a couple work sessions ago, you requested that the Business Advisory Board, your BAB, take a deep dive and a hard look at the region zoning application process. And after spending a number of months looking at it, conducting a lot of interviews and doing surveys, at this point we're presenting to you what the final product is from the BAB. At this point I'd like to turn it over to Chris Torsha, who was chairman of this deep dive.
Good evening, Mr. Griffin, Dr. Griffin, and board members. I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you today about the regional zone application process. Again, my name is Christopher Torsha, and I am but one of the members of the Business Advisory Board to the Seminole County Public Schools. Joining me tonight are some of the other members of that BAB that have participated in creating the information we present tonight. So please allow me to have them introduce themselves.
Sean Essler, I'm the chairman of the Business Advisory Board.
Amy Acamini on the Business Advisory Board.
Matt Weber, Business Advisory Board.
And for those in the audience who are not familiar with the Business Advisory Board, we are a group of persons gathered from within this community that provides the district with our independent business perspective and experience to assist the district achieve its operational goals. Recently, as Mr. Rinaldi mentioned we've been asked to look at the regionally zoned elementary schools application process. One of the Student Assignment and Program Access Department's goals for that process is to have received by March 1st of the year the regional zone elementary school applications from at least 80% of the affected families within the regional zones. Those affected families are families with a child that will attend an elementary school that is situated within the regional zones. Kyle Hughes is the head of that department, and to achieve that goal, he and his staff diligently work to communicate with the community to spread the word about how to apply by that March 1st deadline. However, in spite of these efforts, a significant portion of the affected families are not applying on time, and so the BAB team has been exploring what is contributing to the response issue, plus identifying additional paths to improve the timeliness of responses. To address these challenges, the BAB presents the following recommendations for the board's consideration. In the interest of time, we will only review the first 5 recommendations in detail, but following will be a summary of all 10 recommendations. And at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Matt Weber.
Good afternoon, Dr. Griffin, board members. We're always a little disappointed when we do this because we think the crowd is here for us, and then you turn around and everybody's gone. But from a quick 30,000-foot view, as you can see, the mission here was to determine why everybody who is applicable to participate in the regional zone application process doesn't do it on the same timeline. Not doing it on the same timeline creates downstream disadvantages for the districts that you are no doubt familiar with. So in general, from a 30,000-foot view, there are 3 detriments to this system working well. Number 1, the content on the website is lengthy, it is complicated, and the layout on the website doesn't make it easy to consume, and we think a lot of the target audience is not absorbing the content because of that. But then secondly, there's a portion of the target audience who's not aware of the process, and this may be because they're transient, they've recently moved into the district, and they really don't know where the contact point is. Third, some of the content is only available in English, and some of the target audience that we need to get into the system are ESL folks, and we're not addressing that in any way. So on a high level, our recommendations are to run mobile ads for a 4-week period because we believe that a mobile device is ubiquitous. We believe it crosses demographic lines, it crosses income lines. Everybody has one in their hand, and we think there's no other more cost-effective way to alert people to the timeliness of the process than by running mobile ads. Second is that we do believe that the video content, what little there is, should be expanded. A lot of the content right now is text-based, and that may not be the easiest piece of content for this target audience to consume. And if that video content comes from peers, people that look like them, people that sound like them, they may be more likely to absorb it. That particular portion of the website, while the district does a phenomenal job on the web, that particular portion of the website needs probably some professional consultation because it's a big ask. That piece of content is asking people to absorb a lot of material and to take a very specific direction, and I think that that needs to be designed professionally to get people to take that action. Fourth is that right now, when you go to the website, it's an all-or-nothing proposition for the target audience. Read it, or fill out the application, or go away. But a lot of people are going to read that content, look at that very lengthy application, and even on a mobile device go, oh man, I do not have the time or the inclination to do that right now. So a second option that says, hey, keep me informed on the regional zone process. Send me key updates. Here's my email address and my name. Boop, and out. At least gets them into the system, at least gets them into the pipeline. Now you've got somebody that you can track and you can market to, rather than them looking at that content and disappearing and not having a chance to message them. The calendar as it exists right now is satisfactory in function, but we think it can be used more often in social media and other marketing elements to make sure that people see the future of the dates rather than just what's happening right now. And I think we think that asset can be leveraged more effectively. We also think that religious leaders within the community can help talk to the audience that perhaps the district's messaging doesn't talk to currently, and to be able to communicate the importance of participating in this process and the timeliness of the process. The digital marquees at all the schools are not used currently to promote this process and the timeline, and we think that's a free asset that should be done. We also think, we'll go into this a little bit more detail, that this should be pitched as a news story. Ironically, on the day that we began this journey, there were 3 news stories on the local news outlets about Orange County. They had 2 new schools opening, they had a new cafeteria program, and you don't see that kind of coverage for Seminole County, and not all stories are worthy of that, but this particular story we think is worthy of local news coverage. The application process, you've no doubt seen it, it's complex. And some steps can be taken to make it simpler, even as such as if I've gone to the website before and if I've ever filled out some information, it could, depending on your regulations, remember the content that I've submitted previously and not ask me to fill it out again. In fact, there's even places on the application where the user has to fill out the same thing more than one time. So the application, I think, can be simplified, and it can be measured whether or not that's successful. How many more people visit the form, then complete it once it's been redesigned. And then finally, using Skyward, which is an access point you have to this target audience, more robustly and more diligently to get to that target audience. Diving into this just a little bit deeper, going on to the top 5, we think that the mobile ads are very inexpensive, and we think that this could be less than $1,000 a week in exposure. Keep in mind that we don't want anybody to click on the ads. Really, we want the brand exposure, right? We want awareness of this program. Now, if they do click on it, that's great. Go to the page that explains the process. But in general, we have to raise the awareness that there is a deadline happening and that these are the steps that you should have to take. Potentially, depending on the vendor, it might cost $800 in agency management fees, and maybe a high estimate would be $500 in creative development to do the ads. As a summary, we don't think there's a media channel out there that offers the access to the targeted audience in the way that mobile ads do. We do think video content is a key priority for this mission. There are some people that estimate that more than 50% of the content on the web by the end of 2021 will be video content. Generations of consumers now have an expectation that they can see things in video. They're growing up in a YouTube demographic. They speak video, if you will, and I think for this particular, we think for this particular messaging, this needs to be video content as well. Now, one of the things that we found most interesting about this process is that these 2 deadlines didn't have a name, and they didn't have a handle. And as we analyzed it, we all came to the conclusion that people can't act on what they don't understand. They can't act on what they can't describe. So the 2 deadlines need names. They need something that they can be able to say, well, I have to do the blank by that. If they can't describe it with words, then they can't conceptualize it or conceptualize the impact of that, and there's no cost to implementing that. As we talked about outsourcing the design of just the UX, the district is very fortunate and it has some highly competent and highly skilled web development people. So the design only may cost somewhere between $5,000 and $6,000, and then that design can be taken to your internal resources to be implemented. The entire job doesn't have to be outsourced, just the design of that. We do think that the content has to be made available in other languages, and the district has experimented previously with Google Translate, and that came up with some disadvantages in the accuracy of that translation. So just this small subset of pages can be individually translated by a professional, and we think that will increase the effectiveness on that. As we talked about creating a lower level, less commitment action for the consumer to take on this, will pay off, we think, tremendously. We think that people come to the website pages, look at it, are confused, don't know what to take, or look at that form, and they turn away because there's no other option for them to do. So if we just had a lesser commitment action that says, hey, stay abreast of what's happening in your regional zone, leave your email address here, we can then drip out emails to those people and get them to take the desired action along the line. Now, this one's a little bit risky, we understand this, but this recommendation is to create a perceived benefit for the 2 deadlines. When you look at the language as it's on the website right now, it's actually more beneficial to do the action that the district doesn't desire the people to do. The wording says, if you do the on-time lottery applications, you get an email in late March, early April. If you do the late ongoing application, you get an email sent within 24 to 48 hours. What sounds better? Finding out in 24 to 48 hours. So there is no perceived benefit in the languaging or the positioning of these two options. And if possible, one could be as an enhanced selection deadline, which really doesn't say anything, but sounds like it says something. And the other could be the deferred selection deadline. But again, people need some type of naming or convention with a perceived benefit as to why they should do the former rather than the latter. We also think, very simply, that a countdown clock could be used on all the web elements, so that content right now speaks in terms of dates, and people don't always register dates with urgency, but when they see a countdown clock, it immediately communicates something with some level of dread, potentially, is about to happen if I don't act on it. We just connect those with things I've got to do, and that's a very inexpensive element to add to the web content. So that was a quick rundown of our top 5. We've provided you in writing with the remaining details of the recommendations as well. We've put in what their anticipated costs are, what the advantages are, what the disadvantages are. I think as a group, we also want to point out that in the research of this, we tried to make contact with other districts who are affected by the unitary status. And we tried to see, well, what are they doing that potentially Seminole County District is doing? And of the districts that were willing to talk to us, which were few, it's no question that Seminole County is attacking this more methodically and more disciplined than any other district. In fact, several districts said to us, send us that report when you're done, if you don't mind.
No, don't.
No.
Thank you for your attention.
Yes,
Thank
thank
you
you.
for-
On behalf of
Thank
the
you.
entire BAB, we appreciate this opportunity again.
Yes, thank you for your
You
time.
guys are awesome. Thank you so much.
Effort. Okay.
Any
Any
questions?
other
Yeah, do you have any questions for
Questions?
us while we're up here?
I don't have questions, just a comment. This was phenomenal work. I know you've spent a long time doing this deep dive, and I sat here with many aha moments of, why didn't I think of that? So I guess when you're only focusing on that one thing, it really.
Lots of very
so-
doable action items, which is good.
Right, we appreciate it.
That's why they earn their big paychecks, right? Thank you very much.
And you've got a great team working on this as well. We spent a lot of time with your team in that area, and they're engaged, they're involved and committed, and it was wonderful working with them.
Thank you.
We really appreciate your insight and everything that you do for all of us. Thank you so much.
Next item on the agenda is public comment. Vice Chairman Pennick, if you would read the public comment statement, please.
The public input segment of this meeting is provided for the purpose of permitting persons to present specific matters to the board for its consideration and action or referral to the superintendent and his staff. The public input segment of this meeting is not open to presentation of campaign issues by political candidates, matters involving student disciplinary action, pending employee disciplinary matters, or pending litigation. Each individual member of the public is limited to 3 minutes. A designated group representative may have up to 6 minutes.
Thank you. I'd like to invite Dan Smith up first, and then Diana Hill. Please identify yourself for the record.
Thank you. My name is Dan Smith. I am a Seminole County resident, Seminole County teacher, Seminole County Public Schools employee, and presently the president of the Seminole Education Association. I'm speaking for the first time as president of the association, opposed to just Mr. Citizen prior. I'm speaking on respect in the workplace, and I'm making a request. Right before Thanksgiving, some of our schools and the teachers in the schools were informed that they were going to be required to take a mandatory training to satisfy statute 1012584. It's one of the youth mental health pieces. I don't know exactly what the name of it is because I don't always get the information. I'm not in the schools anymore. I don't have an issue with the statute. I have a little bit of concern that the scheduling of it. When the schools rolled it out, they asked the teachers to choose between the early release days, which are today, tomorrow, well, Thursday, but not Thursday, and then in the spring, a choice of some of the teacher work days. Not the only reason, but one of the reasons that we have the early release at the end of the semesters is our teachers have considerable amount of grading that they have to do. So we didn't just go beyond taking their grading time away from them in this to get this completed, but it's also extending beyond their contract time as well. The other options that were available by them were on teacher work days. Specifically, they were looking at March 13th, March 28th, and March 29th. Now, contractually, there are no scheduled professional developments on those days. The wording of it is optional, but we have a lot of teachers, especially our probationary teachers who can be released without cause, they're gonna do anything. I mean, you could have made the PD on Christmas Day and they would have signed up to do it because they want to have a job next year. It's just a concern that, that we've had for this. I had suggested, when I didn't find out until then, but I had suggested that at the time of this notification that I had received, there were 17 scheduled Wednesdays available on early release. And we're looking at a 5-hour requirement, and this could have been done within that time frame. Still give the teachers time to grade and get their grades done. They're going to be grading, who knows what, they're going to be grading over the break, et cetera. They're not going to be able to do it during the time frame anymore. And it was unnecessary to do. So I'm asking, just please, to consider these things when these are rolled out. The turnover rate has just become so high in the last couple of years that when the turnover rate gets so high, it's not really a teacher administration issue. It now becomes a children issue because we just get a constant new teacher. And right now, it's really just our lower group of kids who wind up with the new teachers, but eventually it's going to be all of our kids who wind up with the new ones. In order to do this isn't really going to cost, it's not going to cost a cent. It just simply put to give them the information and have it done during the workday. Now, I've been a classroom teacher for 27 years, and in the last 2 or 3 years, I haven't seen the morale as low as I've seen it now, and that's what's causing our turnover. The money has something to do with it, but they know that coming into it. They're not leaving because really of money. They're maybe not coming because of, but not leaving necessarily. But if we can just fix the workload that they're doing, and it can be done, then very simply, your turnover rate's going to really go back to the way it was 4 or 5 years ago. Right? Now, I think we agree that the students, our children, are the most important thing in this unit for our system. And I'm going to come to offer a solution. I think you should know I don't just come up with the complaints. I do have a solution. And the solution I'm going to offer is prevention. I would suggest that if you have anything that's going to require the excessive workload or the teachers to go beyond it, to please contact the Seminole Education Association at the beginning. I'm not asking to tread on managerial rights. I'm not even asking to be on these. But if we're aware of this, we could possibly give you guidance to what the issues might be regarding extending the workload of the days, all right? I think it's going to save time, and I think it's going to save some of the contract violations that we might have here. So I think we can resolve it, and I think that it can be resolved positively otherwise. Sorry. All right. Now, finally, I do want to also say in closing, that aside, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to all. I really do mean that. And I just want to end with that because of the positiveness of the relationship. I'm just asking suggestion and giving you a possible solution. So that being said, thank you very much and have a nice evening.
Thank you very much. Diana Hill?
All right, Good evening. My name is Diana Hill, and my children attend Hamilton Elementary. I'm here to provide input on Policy 5330.04 in reference to the administration of medical marijuana. My daughter Natalia has an extremely rare gene mutation called PHIP-related disorder. According to the National Institute of Health, there are only 27 people in the world with this disorder. Symptoms include autism, ADHD, anxiety, impulse control issues, aggression, learning disabilities, hypotonia, and vision issues. However, that's just a handful. During 2018, she was violent 304 times, oppositionally defiant 1,331 times, cried 174 times, and had 62 separate meltdowns. She's been on almost every antipsychotic and ADHD medication and has even been Baker acted 3 times. The medications work for a couple weeks and then wear off. To compound the issue, Natalia's biological mother committed suicide 2.5 years ago and told Natalia that she was going to shoot herself. We switched ABA companies at the beginning of 2019, so she now receives 40 hours a week in school and in home. However, in order for the behaviors to change long term, her mental state must be stable. Starting summer of 2019, she was prescribed medical cannabis. Most medical cannabis products only have a maximum duration of 6 hours for her body. That presents quite the problem for us to provide her with stabilizing medication to last throughout the school day and bus trips, almost 8.5 hours. To make matters worse, she refuses to take some forms of the medication and will become violent. After reviewing Policy 5330.04, I have multiple recommendations as her caregiver. Section A5 states that permissible forms of medical marijuana include edible products. However, edibles are not legally sold in the state of Florida. Section A7 defines low THC cannabis as a plant of the genus cannabis, the dried flowers of which that contain 0.08% or less of THC. According to the Curaleaf dispensary, 0.08% THC is considered CBD, not THC. Natalia's doctor, Varesh Patel, wrote with a prescription for up to 90 milligrams a day for topical THC, which is a patch, oral for 150 milligrams THC per day, and 90 milligrams of CBD, which does nothing for her. 0.08% THC is fractions of a percent of her current dose, which has reduced her violence, reduced crying episodes, increased her ability to be empathetic, a key in social emotional learning, increased her ability to interact with others, and increased her ability to complete schoolwork, her ability to focus on that work, and to be successful. Section A8 defines prohibited forms of medical marijuana to include vapors, patches, and other forms of administration that provide continuous delivery of medical marijuana.
Ms. Hill.
If you are concerned about vaping that includes vaping only, please don't punish children who receive medical benefits for 72 hours through patches.
Ms. Hill?
Yes.
Your time is up. If you would share your comments with our clerk, she'll share them with all of us, please.
Okay, my only concern is that your workshop did not include any caregivers. I would urge the board to table this item and propose another workshop that includes attendees that are caregivers this time around.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Griffin, do you have a recommendation for the consent agenda?
Yes, I do, that the consent agenda be approved as presented.
Is there a motion?
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Member Sanchez, I should have noted that for AD, for Teague, I'm going to assign you for the RFQ.
Yes, that's fine,
Okay.
thank you.
For a construction manager at risk. We have no items removed for separate consideration. Dr. Griffin, you pulled discipline. We have no unfinished business.
I do have 2 new business items.
Okay, thank you. Do you have a recommendation, please?
I do. Okay, my first recommendation is that the School Board of Seminole County approve an agreement to be negotiated with the law firm of Wagstaff and Cartmel LLP and the Meyer Law Firm for legal services and representation, including filing suit on behalf of the board against the manufacturers and/or distributors and/or sellers of electronic cigarettes and vaping products, and authorize the superintendent and school board attorney to sign all necessary documents.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve?
Moved.
Second.
Any discussion? I just have a comment to make. It's very frustrating to me that we have to join a lawsuit or consider joining a lawsuit to have this matter addressed.
Absolutely.
So that's my total comment right now.
I just feel it's extremely important as well that we.
It is very,
you
and
know,
it's a
it's out of
terrible
control.
thing for our children. So
Any
we're
more
ready for a
children need to
vote.
die.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. None opposed, motion
I
carries.
oppose.
I didn't hear you. I apologize. I didn't hear you. Any opposed?
I oppose.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Okay, my second recommendation is that the School Board of Seminole County approve the assignment and assumption of agreement number 151600055P-DW from Assurant to Sun Life Assurance Company of Canada. Approve Amendment 1 and renew all dental plans. Prepaid 225, Freedom Basic, and Freedom Preferred plans with no increase in premium.
Madam Chair, I need to notify the board that I must abstain from voting pursuant to Florida Statute Section 112.3143, and to avoid even the appearance of a conflict, I'm abstaining from this vote as it may result in a special gain or loss for a relative.
Thank you. So is there a motion to approve?
Motion.
So
Second.
moved. Second.
Any comments? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Superintendent's report, Dr. Griffin?
Those are read-only items, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Board members, if you have anything that you would like to share, Member Calderon?
No, thank you at this time. I just wish you and our entire team happy holidays and spend some time with your family and friends.
Thank you. Member Sanchez?
No report at this time as well. Wishing everybody a happy and safe, wonderful new year and a great break, and happy holidays to everyone.
Thank you. Member Kraus?
You have earned this break, and I hope that you cherish the time with your families. Thanks for all you do, day in and day out. Happy holidays.
Member Pennock?
Happy holidays, happy new year. Take some time off, enjoy your families, and see you next year, next decade.
Thank you. Yes, everybody have a safe, relaxing time with your families and with your friends. Totally unplug if you can. And we'll see you next year. That concludes our meeting.
My boys.